everyone. Welcome, episode 24 of the First to Third podcast. I'm Scott. I'll be your host this evening from the road. This glorious hotel room that I'm staying in tonight. Drew, actually not far from you, my friend. I'm in the great Winston-Salem, traveling for work this week, so not too far. A little bit down the road.
We could have done a live simultaneous podcast together. What were we thinking?
I know. That's still on the docket, I think, at some point this season to try to get us all together. So
November 10th sounds fun.
Yeah, there you go. So
we'll definitely all be together for that one.
Yeah. I don't know if we will be coherent enough to be talking into some microphones for a podcast, but
I don't know about on the 10th. Maybe I got to have a speech on the 11th, so maybe.
You can do that half drunk, I think. So.
Gonna type it out the night before.
That's right. We shall see. Oh, too funny. Well, all right. We appreciate you guys joining us. We got Drew and myself tonight. We're super stoked to be here. It is a great kind of recap of Braves week. I shouldn't say great, a good. You know, they kind of did what they needed to do. The Braves got some help from the Athletics this weekend, which blew my mind. I thought the Mets were going to absolutely control that series, which they did 2 of the 3 games. But the Mets do end up falling in one of those. So nonetheless, the Braves kind of stand pat on the week in the week that was. So as we always do, before we get too deep into it, we'll just give kind of a stacks kind of introduction. Typically we would talk about the stacks that were of the past week. But unfortunately none of us ended up putting in stacks last week. So it kind of is what it is. But stack bets are something that we created to kind of have some fun competition on the podcast and a way for us to just kind of, again, just have some fun, kind of have some bragging rights on the podcast, throw some bets out and keep the season interesting. It's been a lot of fun. It's made me pay attention to a few more teams and a few more games than maybe I probably would have if we hadn't kind of been doing this. But it's been fun. And as we kind of round out the regular season here, it's going to be interesting to see, kind of maybe what we do for the playoffs and different things like that. If we kind of give ourselves a playoff jackpot, so to speak, and maybe last person standing kind of takes it. But as we currently stand, Drew is in the lead, 505 stacks. Barrick has 270 in third place. I have 375 in second place. Skipped over that a second ago, so my bad. Robbie still at 180 and Kenny at 90. We did not include Ryan in this just because of the prospect of him still playing this year and him not being affiliated with sports betting. So he is not involved in this process of everything. Big shout out to him and the High Point Rockers taking the Atlantic League South Division championship last night. They now move on to the championship series. Lancaster, right?
Yeah, they start.
That's who they're playing.
Start at home tomorrow.
Yep. So if you're in the High Point area, go check them out. It'll be a super fun night and super fun time. And hey, let's bring home a championship to the pod. What do we say?
Absolutely. Yes.
It was also sweet. Dole picked up the save in the win last night, and just a nasty pitch.
Night.
Oh, he picked up the win? Okay.
W last night, yeah. He actually blew the save. It is what
it
is. They asked him to get 6 outs. He hasn't been very good at 6 outs this year, but he got 6 outs
late in the season too.
That's all that matters.
That's right. Well, the last pitch of the game was just filthy, and I think the hitter was more pissed off at himself more than he was anybody. But he decided to take it out on the ump. That pitch was. It was all there. So there was quite a lot of the plate.
There were some pitches early in the 8th and some in the 9th that were. Let's say they were very good pitches, and Ryan didn't get the call, so. I'm glad he got one call, and it was the last one.
Yeah, it causes a bit of a conundrum when you've got a professional pitcher pitching with non-professional umpires, because he was putting some pitches in some very very precarious spots for hitters and was not getting the benefit of the call. But as you said, he persevered, he made it through, so that's kind of all that matters. All that matters with that. So we're going to hop right into it. We're going to try to keep this one nice and short for the folks, especially since we're running a two-man show. Prayers out to folks that are in the path of this hurricane. We hope that it does not cause as much destruction as they say it's going to. So if you've got loved ones or friends or anything in the area, make sure to check in on them, make sure they're safe. We're down a guy tonight who's having to deal with that. So, wishing everybody the best as they kind of battle through the path of this hurricane coming through Florida and the Southeast. It's crazy. With me being in the insurance industry, this is not a super fun time for us either. So, unfortunately, it's just part of what it is. But again, we hope everybody stays safe. So, with that being said, Braves. This upcoming week, the Braves have a very big week. At this point, it's like every game I feel like in the month of September has been a playoff game for the Braves because they just can't afford to lose any ground, which concerns me, I will say, just a bit in the sense of they're having to exude a lot of energy and a lot of kind of gusto to get through this regular season and try to win the division. I hope it doesn't take some out of them as we get into the playoffs, but you could also look at it on the flip side of the coin that it's preparing them for these playoff games and these tough battles and all of that. So that's probably what we're going to choose to believe until we're proven otherwise differently. So
I think Snit's doing a decent job at trying to rest guys. I know he rested Olsen the other day, and I mean we saw Austin Riley at first. So I mean he's trying to rest them when he can and give them breaks here and there. But they know they're in the playoffs, which is key.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think the other smart thing that he's doing, which is interesting because so many people talk about how they say he doesn't take care of the pitching staff and look at the pitching staff, even though we've talked about this at length on this podcast. I think it's been great what he's been doing, trying to slot guys in some extra days rest. But what he's also been able to do the last couple of weeks to try to really gear this rotation up for this Met series that we are kind of alluding to here of this being a big week. So it is now, I think, official that the Braves will be sending out Max Fried, Kyle Wright, and Charlie Morton in the 3 games against the Mets. I mean, if we're going to do it, that's going to be the time to do it. So heading into this week, the Braves are a game and a half behind the Mets. We will pick up the half game because the Mets are off today and the Braves are playing. So we'll pick it up either way, whatever happens in the Braves game. Currently, they are beating the Nationals 8-0 the last time I checked. So hopefully we pick it up in the good way, and we'll finish tonight only a full game behind the Mets. So we got 3 on the road against the Nationals this week, and then we get to go home and really have the season series, which I think is what baseball wants. I think any true baseball fan would probably want it to be this way, where we're going to have a 3-game series against the Mets. They're going to throw out Bassett, DeGrom, and Scherzer. And as I mentioned, we're going to throw out Fried, Wright, and Morton. And we're going to see what happens. And, if that's not exciting to you as a baseball fan, I don't know how else it couldn't get any better. So I think Truist is going to be electric. I wish I could figure out a way to get down there. I think the teams are going to be fired up. I think you're going to see some fireworks. I think you're going to see some celebrations. I think you're going to see some bat flips. I think you're going to see a lot of trash talk, not only between the players. I think Twitter and social media is going to be quite a buzz this weekend between the two fan bases. The Braves get to play their own trumpets with William Contreras and his at-bats. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just really looking forward to a good weekend of baseball. So I'm hoping that the Braves don't stumble against the Nationals leading up to this because it would put a damper on the weekend. I got to say, it doesn't look like the Nationals are very much in much of a hurry to try to win anything. So we'll see. But we alluded to it a couple weeks ago where we thought the Braves needed to be. And we kind of said if they could be a game down heading into that series, that was kind of the sweet spot. Winning 2 or 3 now at that point gives you the division lead. So we'll see how that kind of portrays and kind of plays out. looking back real quick at last week with the Braves, we had 3 at home against the Nationals. We won the first 2. And then we've got another day getaway game that we just can't seem to pull through on.
Terrible.
Give up, up 2-1. Give up a late 2-run home run, and then ultimately, unfortunately, aren't able to come back and lose the series finale against the Nationals 3-2. That one hurt. And then kind of had some worry. We go up to Philadelphia and drop the first two games of that series, and we score 1 run in 2 games. Thursday night, the Braves lose 1-0. Offense just was not coming up with the hit when we needed it at all. And then on Friday, lose 9-1. That game was just
ouch.
That was just a throwaway game, honestly. Nobody looked good. Odorizzi, I don't think he's going to make the playoff roster at that point. Nope. Even though I say this, it depends on Spencer Strider's health.
I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. That was some other big Braves news. But thankfully, the Braves salvaged the 4-game series and are able to win on Saturday 6-3, and then on Sunday in dramatic fashion after a rain delay 8-7. Drew and I were kind of chatting a little bit pre-podcast. I'd be interested to hear some other thoughts on this as well, of just what in the world was kind of going on with the Phillies in that 5th inning. They are able to take the lead in the bottom of the 4th, and an absolute monsoon just falls out of the sky in Philadelphia, and the Phillies go up in the bottom of the 5th and are like battling at bats, and it culminates between a showdown between Charlie Morton and Brandon Marsh. And I think he goes into like a 6 or 7 pitch at bat. It's like 2-2. And if you've seen the clip on social media, I mean, it is like, you can't see out there. And the umpire finally has to call it. And unfortunately, they can't call it a complete game because they didn't make it through the 5th. I say unfortunately for the Phillies. Can't call it because it's not an official game. They waited out. Couple-hour rain delay, and they play it out, and ultimately the Braves come through and win it, I think, in 11. And I was telling Drew, I mean, I just don't understand why he's not up there just taking 3 swings at, like, just show bunt and don't eat. I mean, and just get that game over with. It's a getaway game for the Braves. Drew's point was, unless there was like conversations being had that they were going to resume the game after that 5th inning regardless, the circumstances to me just don't indicate that they would have done that. That's a big L, in my opinion, for Brandon Marsh and the Phillies. And Drew, you said it. I mean, we're in the dog days of the season. Like, you take a win, however the heck you're going to get it.
We'll take that win. We're in a playoff hunt, man. They're battling. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, at the end of the day, do you really want to play the Braves in a 5-game series in Atlanta the whole time, or do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to play somebody else? But I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't understand his thinking, but it works out in the long run for the Braves. We'll take it.
Yeah. So, yeah, thankfully for the Braves fans out there, he didn't do that, battled through the at-bat, and like I said, after a couple-hour rain delay, the Braves come back, able to battle. Hey, Jackson Stephens, he earned some stripes in my eyes last night. I was down and out a little bit on him. It did not seem like he was having very much clean innings. The 6 outs he got for the Braves yesterday, unbelievable. In the new format, going out there and not giving up a run in the 10th inning, I mean, it's just unbelievable. And then coming out in the 11th and only giving up the 1 run, I mean, kudos to him. If he can be another one of those guys like we had last year that just somehow picks it up in primetime part of the season and can just start ripping fastballs and breaking off curveballs, I'm for it, man. I'm for it.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely.
any other takeaways you had from the week, or what you're kind of seeing coming up? What you're excited about? Anything in particular?
I think we gotta stay within a game going into the weekend. The big kicker is, can the Marlins help us out? I mean, because if the Marlins can get it to where we're even going into the weekend, ooh.
Yeah.
But the other big thing is, you take care of business this weekend. You still got 3 games left that you got to take business on as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on the road. So,
yep.
I mean, I think the Braves know we're at home for the playoffs to start with. Let's get home as a 2 seed. That'd be fun. Now, we talked about this in the past about, do you want to have that break or do you not want to have that break? Well, at the end of the day, I think it would benefit the Braves to have that break, to let Acuna rest, to get Strider back, to shore up a couple of things, to get everybody somewhat healthy back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we're getting Ozzy back until like the NLCS if that happens, but it helps out a little bit if he has some extra time to recoup. So I don't know, man. That 2 seed is going to be big for the Braves, or if not, then they'll be the 4 seed, and then we'll go play the Dodgers. What's new in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I just playing the Dodgers in a 5-game series versus a 7-game series. We got to have confidence in the team, but the Dodgers did not win 100 and probably 12 games last year. When this is all said and done this year, their starter. I mean, they've got some injuries to that starting rotation that we've highlighted over the last couple of weeks, but they've got guys just like the Braves have had, stepping up in big time situations and getting some outs and really giving them some leverage in the game. So we'll see. It's but I would much rather face the Dodgers in a 7-game series in the NLCS than I would 5-game series in the NLDS after having to have just played 2 or 3 in the wild card. So,
the best part would be if they get the 2 seed, then the Mets are on the side with them, and let them and the Mets go beat each other up, and we'll go wait for them in the NLCS.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that is being talked about enough in this Braves-Mets race. Like, that 2 seed is playoff run altering. It is. It cannot be understated what winning the division means. And I think for a lot of people, like that maybe casually watch baseball, they're kind of like, hey, you both have played really good. Like, you're both guaranteed that 4 seed in a home playoff series. Like, why are you pushing so hard? And it's like,
I'd like to play the Dodgers in 7.
Yeah. You get a bye, you get the Dodgers in 7, and your rotation is set up for every stage of the playoffs at that point. Versus you play wild card series. Let's say worst case scenario, it goes 3 games. You've now went through 1, 2, 3 starting pitchers. Now you have to go on the road and face the Dodgers in a 5-game series.
And you're probably pitching against their
number
1.
4. Yeah, like that's not great. So, it's a huge difference. And so, that's what makes this week and this series very big.
And I think the Braves match up better against the Cardinals and the Padres, who probably going to be the 6th seed. So,
yeah,
I don't know. I like their matchups better against them. Obviously, we've seen that. So,
well, what would be very weird and very crazy, let's say the Braves get the 2 seed and the Cardinals play the Padres, and somehow the Padres win that. We end up having to play the winner of the Mets Phillies. Because the Padres are the low seed and they get the Dodgers as the lowest seed. So I don't feel great about that, even though I would feel great in the fact that now the Mets or the Phillies would have had to have burned through the pitching that we just talked about as the disadvantage of having to play in the wild card. So that, again, that's where it's like it sets up so many different variables of just things that could happen. And again, the same scenario could play out of what we just talked about. Like the Padres could upset the Cardinals in that wild card round, and the Padres still have to go play the Dodgers, and then the Braves have to go play the Mets in a 5-game series, but our pitching still doesn't match up. And I think the pitching not matching up in the Mets series is way worse than it not matching up in the Dodgers series.
Right.
That's my opinion, at least, I guess. So, just a few kind of tidbits of some things. Eddie Rosario played in 3 games last week, but seeing the ball well, hit the ball well. He picked up 4 hits, 2 doubles. He scored 3 runs, only had 1 strikeout. Dansby just continuing his tear. He had 9 hits last week, 1 double, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He did have 7 strikeouts, which I'm not too thrilled about. That's also a change in the batting order.
That's correct. He moved to lead off with Acuna.
He did lead off several games last week. So, and yes, that price is just getting steeper and steeper, which is unfortunate. So we shall see what comes of that.
Hey, that man is money.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Harris just continues to be a hit machine. He's picked up 7 hits last week, a double, a home run, 3 RBIs.
I liked him.
Unfortunately, he did look good.
I liked him.
It doesn't work with Ronald and Dansby there.
No,
but
if you're going to lead off Dansby, I like him in the 2-hole.
Yeah,
that's fun.
100%. That's a lot of speed. That's a lot of speed.
It may be something you see if we don't get Dansby back. It may be something you see as the in 2024 or 2023 that you see Acuna and Michael Harris 1-2 with Riley and Olsen. Yeah, have fun. Okay.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, Osby.
Ozzy.
Contreras.
And the list goes on and on and on and on and on.
It just So unless let's throw in Trey Turner, Carlos Correa.
Give me Trey.
Yeah,
if we're going Trey Turner, then he's Michael Harris going back to the bottom.
Yeah. Put him in that.
Right, we'll save that for the off-season talks.
Yeah. There you go. Ronald, he played in 3 games this past week. He had 3 hits. Again, I don't know why teams are pitching him outside. Maybe they need to start listening to podcasts. I don't know, but good Lord, it just is baffling. Grissom, Vaughn, what do you think's kind of going on with him? Bat's cooling off a little bit, which I think is to be expected. I'm not expecting him to be an all-star caliber player throughout the whole second half of the season and into the playoffs. But defensively, he's looked a little lost. I don't quite know kind of what's going on defensively, why he's lost. What's lost there. You think it's just like pressure, or
I think he got some pressure on his feet without Ozzy coming back. Got a little uncomfortable where, honestly, I think they should have just said, all right, cool, man, you're going to go play left field. Have fun.
Yeah.
Not even worry about Rosario. Not even worry about blanking right now. Ozuna obviously is not worried about him.
Yeah.
So, I think they should. Yeah, Grossman, there it is. I think you just got to roll him out there a little bit, and then even with Ozzy in the lineup, if Ozzy comes back, you got to keep Vaughn in the lineup. I think he felt a little pressure, and it's the first time he's kind of had to sit and be healthy and sit. So, it is what it is. It'll be all right.
Yeah, I just hope they kind of get that figured out, because that's the Braves are a very good team, but just like any team, if you have errors start compounding innings and giving free outs and not taking outs where you're given, and we've seen some falters this year in terms of defensively. Like Matt Olson is not playing Gold Glove caliber first base. Vaughn has shown some areas of weakness here lately. I think that concerns me just a bit if we don't get that kind of figured out.
Right. Final.
Sweet.
8-0.
8-0. Only 1 game back now. So
yep.
Love it. 8 runs on 6 hits, huh?
We'll take it.
Am I reading this right? Bryce Elder pitched a complete game.
Oh boy, that's huge. If that's the, let me check that box score. Bryce Elder, 9 innings, 6 hits, a walk, and 6 Ks on 106 pitches.
Hey,
huge, Mr. Elder. That was awesome.
That, I believe, that is the Braves' first complete game of the season.
I have to stat check that one.
Yeah, I don't think they've had a pitcher pitch a complete game this season. Let's look that up. Year to date, all players, complete game.
5 of the Braves'
Bryce
6
Elder.
runs came on home runs. So
Bryce Elder, 1. That's it. So
heck
kudos
of a
to
time
him,
to
man.
do it.
And it was a shutout. So big ups to him.
Huge.
That's huge. I mean,
that's an extra bullpen day. Thank you.
Yeah, and throw him in there now, possibly as the 5th roaming starter and
a long relief guy.
Yeah, something. You got the four main guys, and then him, coming in to eat up some innings. He comes in and starts pitching like that. That's going to do well for the guys. So, kudos to you, Elder. Love it. That was big. All right. Second team this podcast kind of follows, the Orioles. They are trying, man. They're an exciting baseball team still, but they're hanging on by a thread. So they still sit 4 games out in the AL wild card. They have officially been eliminated from AL East contention, which is sad. But hey, none of us thought that it would take 150 games to eliminate them from playoff contention or from division contention. So we all kind of thought that elimination number might have hit by the All-Star break.
We were a little bit wrong.
we were pretty harsh on the Orioles preseason, if we're being honest. But hey, I think most people
we'll take that being wrong. We'll take it.
Yeah,
we'll wear that.
So they still sit 4 games out of the wild card behind Seattle, and they're 4.5 behind Tampa Bay. So their elimination number right now is 7. So they're going to have to pick up some wins here coming up. They are currently beating the Boston Red Sox, but they're in a rain delay. So, and it's only the top of the 3rd. So they've got to get through that at some point. They had a tough schedule of a weekend. They had to have the Astros come to town. They did take 2 of the 4, which is pretty impressive. But Barrick and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. The Orioles in September, late September, beat the Astros 2 out of 3, shut them out back-to-back games, lose the 3rd game 11-10, and then lose Sunday 6-3. That's a competitive 4-game series in late September. The Orioles still trying to make the playoffs. You have to be excited as an Orioles fan of where the prospects could be at this point of actually contending. I mean, this team is no joke. Way ahead of schedule.
Way ahead of schedule, and dude, their farm team is sick right now.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what other things they have coming up in the next couple of years, man. They got a chance to really. I mean, their division they're in sucks for them, but
it does.
They got some dudes that can play, man. They have some dudes.
DL Hall looked good this week. Gunnar Henderson has just. Yep.
Rodriguez is back.
Gunnar Henderson is. Yeah. Yep. Gunnar Henderson has come up and just slid in like a pro, which is crazy. Connor Norby got called up, friend of the podcast. He got called up to AAA and has just been raking. I mean, I think kind of making a statement that, hey, he's going to be for real. He's coming for that big league roster next year. He comes out and has an impressive spring training. It's going to be real hard to keep him off that roster opening day, I think. So
for my
kudos
sake,
to him.
I hope that he doesn't come up until like July, just for me personally, because kind of hard to go see him in April when we're playing. But
fair enough.
I did get to talk to him the other night because he faced Tyler Glasnow. Yeah, I asked him, man.
That's a bit of a different challenge.
I asked him, how was Glasnow? He said, I had no shot. He said there's a little bit of a shadow, and he said his stuff is a lot better than people say. I said, man, he's an all-star for a reason. It's like 98 to 100 out of a 6'7" body. Yeah, that's not fun to play with, dude. And he struck him out on a 12-6 hammer. Just up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like Connor said, I mean, it's hard to hit that guy in general, but you start throwing shadows and stuff like that out on the field, and
no shot.
I mean,
no shot.
You're seeing a Nerf ball at that point. So, yeah.
Hope it's white when he comes in to hit
it. Yeah, absolutely. So looking ahead for the Orioles, I'll put our hand up, and I think Drew would probably do this too. We are by no means the Orioles expert. Barrick is kind of our go-to Orioles fan. So not going to be able to go into and do this as much justice as Barrick would be able to do. But the Orioles have 4 games on the road in Boston this week before having to go into the Bronx for a 3-game series against New York. And if you thought it was tough, then they get to come home and have 3 games against the Blue Jays. So with that being said, I think the Orioles have some control over their destiny. Now, is that control very hard? Yes. They should win 3 out of the 4 games against Boston, just based on how the seasons are going for those teams now. They almost have to sweep the Yankees and go into that Toronto series within striking distance of that last playoff spot. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, I think they're gonna need a little bit of help too. Yeah, they're gonna need the Red Sox or the Yankees to help knock off either Toronto or Tampa, and I mean they're gonna need some help with Seattle too. So.
Well, and that's what I just clicked over to kind of take a look at what we're looking at here. They ain't getting no help from Seattle. Seattle
gets Oakland.
They get to close their season with 9 straight home games against the Texas Rangers, the Oakland Athletics, and the Detroit Tigers.
Wow, that's fantastic scheduling.
I mean, 9 straight games at home.
And if they go 7-2, they're in. They may move up, But
yeah, absolutely.
Late in the year, man, you never know, man. You never know.
You never know.
Maybe Oakland will do what they did to the Mets and steal 1 or 2.
There you go. Toronto, let's take a look at what they've got. They actually started a 3-game home series against New York today. So that game's going on right now. And then they get 3 games against Boston at home before having to finish those 3 on the road against Baltimore that we talked about. So Toronto, they mess around and get swept by the Yankees. There's a door. There's some opportunity. I don't think that's going to happen.
Screw up and lose 1 in Boston. Or against Boston.
Boston. That's a really good game right now at the time of this podcast airing. It is 2-2 in the bottom of the 7th. So that's got to be a playoff atmosphere. I might tune into that when we get off tonight. That's got to be a playoff atmosphere. Hey, big news in Toronto and Canada. Canada announcing that they were relaxing the vaccination requirement for players. So that's huge, especially if Toronto hangs on. Especially if they hang on for this 4 seed and get to host the wild card. That's huge. So kudos to somebody figuring out and doing the right thing there. Who's the other team? Tampa Bay. Let's take a look at their schedule and what they've kind of got cooking.
Are they at home this weekend?
They are not.
That's good.
They actually do not return home for the rest of the season. So
that might not be a bad thing with Ian bearing down. I know the Bucks are going down to Miami to go to their facility to practice. So I'm new. And Xavier came home today because they sent them home because of the hurricane. So might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, still tough. That's 9 straight road games to end your season. So quite the opposite of the Mariners. They've got 3 against Cleveland, 3 against Houston, and 3 against Boston.
Ooh.
That's tough. That's tough.
6 really tough games.
It is. They should handle the Boston series pretty easily. You would hope as a team that's competing for the playoffs at this point. But those 6, Cleveland, Houston, that's going to be interesting.
Are Cleveland and Houston going to rest guys? I mean, that's going to be your biggest thing.
Well, so I was just getting ready to go take a look. So
Houston just about has home field advantage. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they do. They've got a solid six game lead over the Yankees for the top seed, and the Yankees have about a 9-game lead, 8-game lead over the Guardians for that 2 seed. So that's fair. That's
pretty
fair.
Locked in. They may rest some guys, so that might help Tampa Bay's cause right there.
That could. I don't know. We've talked about that. It's different in baseball, though. Like, you may rest some pitchers, but you're not going to rest a ton of those position guys. You don't want them, not getting at bats, closing out the season, stuff like that.
You'll give them a day here and there. You're not going to give them back-to-back days, but you may give them, a day off and then play 2 or 3 games and give them another day off just to let them collect themselves. So
that's fair. Any other thing you want to chat about?
Yeah, absolutely, I would. Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Famer, Mr. Albert Pujols.
Well, I meant about the Orioles. Yeah, I meant about the Orioles specifically, but yeah, it's all
Orioles.
Good. That's all good.
No,
all good.
See, I knew the segue here. I knew it was coming.
There you go. Yeah, you crushed it. So,
Pujols.
Pujols.
Awesome.
I mean, what a story. I'm so glad that he did it. We talked about it last week on the podcast, and we've kind of talked about it throughout the podcast here. Him getting this is generationally something that's very important. Just because, I mean, again, there is not a clear person currently playing right now that I think has a path to do that. That's like, this guy's going to get close. You know what I'm saying? There are some guys that could put up some great seasons. Aaron Judge doing what he's doing this year. He puts together a couple seasons of him hitting, 50, 55. He could creep up there, but there's just not many guys that you can point to at this point in time. I mean, you think about the generation that we had coming up. It was like Ken Griffey could do this. A-Rod could do this. Pujols could do this. There were just guys that you felt like this was possible. And they were producing numbers from the time they got called up as rookies till Albert's claiming his birth certificate says 42, but that's a different story for a different day. But I mean, he's putting up season after season. I mean, I would have lost significant amounts of money if somebody would have told me he would hit 21 home runs this year. I mean, that is a heck of a season for him.
How many times has he been drug tested? Probably in the last month.
I'm telling you, though. Yeah, we texted about that quite a bit.
I mean, I know the drug testing policy, and I've seen it firsthand with Ryan coming out late every night after coming off an injury. There's random drug testing, and then there's random drug testing, and he may be getting drug tested or avoiding getting drug tested at this point. I mean, but I mean, what a great thing for baseball, man. I mean, there's
100%
4 people, and we've been alive for 2 of the 4.
Yep.
So that's pretty awesome, man. Pretty awesome, man. I mean, Judge's thing, to piggyback on that, man. Judge, I know that there's asterisks next to McGuire and Bonds, but Judge hopefully breaking the Yankee record, that's pretty cool too.
That is.
And he bet on himself.
Yeah. Him doing it this season is what's so impressive.
Free agent season, dude. He just got paid huge amounts of
100%. Money. It was baffling to me that all of these great home run hitters of our time were primarily coming from the National League. It is crazy to me that the American League home run record is still Roger Maris at 61. That was a very surprising statistic, MLB statistic, as this Judge kind of synopsis has been happening. It's wild. So just for some point of reference, the Aaron Judge, as of right now, has 218 career home runs. He is 30 years old. Albert Pujols is 42. So that means you can relatively say Aaron Judge has 12 seasons-ish left if he does the same trajectory that Albert Pujols did. I think that's probably giving him a few years, but
nonetheless. I'll help you out too. Mike Trout's got 347, and he's 31.
Yeah.
He's halfway to Pujols.
Yeah. So Aaron Judge would have to hit 40 home runs every season, roughly every season for the next 12 seasons to get to 700. Is it doable? Sure. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. Listen to this. This was baffling to me too. Albert Pujols made his debut on April the 2nd, 2001. I think that's a nice little nod. They didn't do that on April Fool's Day.
That might have been the start of the season, though, not on April 1st.
That's true.
On April 1st, April 2nd.
Yeah, that's true. He did not have a season under 30 home runs until his 2013 season with the Angels. For 12 straight seasons, he was over 30. And
he hit 51 of those years, didn't he?
In 6 of those seasons, he hit over 40. And in 2006, he was one shy. He hit 49. That is his season high, is 49. He had the down years in Anaheim. Injuries really plagued him. He had a 28 home run season in 2015, a little bit of a resurgence. He hit 40. 2016, he hit 31. And then the decline, that's when the decline kind of hit after the 2016 season. In 2017, it was 23, 19, 23. And then the COVID shortened season, which, just sucks for everyone. He only hit 6. And then in 2021, he hit 17. And now this year he has hit 21. So, that's just giving you an idea of how many home runs somebody's having to hit to get to that number. We just don't have guys doing that anymore. No. It's interesting. Do you still have Mike Trout's numbers pulled up?
I can get to them.
Because I was interested to see the same trajectory of him.
See, Trout came in 2011, so he's already been 11 years in, which is baffling to me.
Yeah,
because I would never have thought Mike Trout's been playing for 11 years, but here he is now, 11 years
that's
in.
That's because at the very beginning of the season, he's never played a freaking playoff game, which doesn't make any sense. Except for that one wild card thing, which nobody really counts. So,
right.
So Pujols has been in the league 21 years. So that means Trout theoretically at that time has 10 years left. If you compare it to that.
Let's see. 2012. Trout hit 30 bombs in 2012. He's hit a career high 45, which was in 2019. So he's had a couple of years. Injuries have plagued him. That's his biggest thing, has been injuries.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is these guys you have to stay healthy early in your career to have a shot. And unfortunately,
Trout's hit a quiet 37 this year. Scary, but he's hit 37 this year, which he could hit 40 again.
Yeah.
So you're looking, he could be at 350 at the end of 11 years, and I don't know. Does Trout have 11 years in him? Does he have 10 years in him? I don't know. But he would still have to hit roughly 30 home
35
runs.
A year. Yeah. Yeah.
30 home runs in 1 or 2 really, really good years of 40 plus.
Yeah. Active career home run leaders. I just want to kind of take a look at a list of what we're looking at right now. Of who's kind of close. So Albert Pujols obviously is at 700. Miguel Cabrera 506. That's a guy.
About to retire.
That's a guy a lot of people probably would have said would have done it.
Yeah.
So Nelson Cruz 459. He's not going to do it. Giancarlo Stanton which this is actually baffling. I didn't realize he was this low. Giancarlo Stanton, 375. I think a lot of people would have thought he would have been able to do it. How many years is he in the league?
Quite a few.
13, and he's 30, and he's 32. So he's got another 10 years. He'd have to average, again, roughly, if you're comparing him to the Pujols number, he'd have to average 30.
I think 30. I think Harper's got a chance if he stays healthy.
Yeah,
he's 11 years in too, just like Trout, 12 years in, 11 years in. So I mean,
yeah. As you start going down this list, Mike Trout is 5th active with 347. He's got 12 years in. He's 31 years old, 11 years in, whatever. The next closest guy, Nolan Arenado's at 299. He's got 10 years in. He's 31. Freddie Freeman, he doesn't hit enough to really make that there. Like you said, Bryce is at 285, 11 season at age 29. Manny Machado. That's kind of sneaky. Eugenio Suarez has 224. He's 9 seasons in, age 30. And then you get to Aaron Judge, who's hit 218 in 7 seasons, age 30. Mookie Betts, 213 in 9 seasons. He's 29. So
sneak down that list. You got Matt Olson there at 177 years in.
Yeah.
And 28. So, I mean, yeah, there's some guys. They got some guys that may have a chance, an outside chance, but we shall see, man.
There's nobody jumping off that list that's like, yeah, we're going to definitely see this. I mean, we're going to – one of those guys, Harper, Olson, Trout, I mean, it's going to have to be years of MVP talk. Aaron Judge, which I would honestly at this point kind of put money on Aaron. If he can stay healthy, I mean, I could see him hitting 35, 40 a year for the next 5, 6 years.
But how long is he going to stay in New York?
That's fair. Well, he might get a piece of ownership at the end of this season. So.
True. Very true.
So, anyway. All right. Players of the week. Did you land on some folks? We had kind of talked about honorary Albert Pujols. I mean, that's a career.
Sure.
All that. But
I went with Brian Reynolds from the Pirates. 11 for 22. 1.593 OPS, hit 500, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 2 doubles, 7 runs scored. Pretty solid week for a last place team.
Yeah. Hey, you got to love the dog days guys still grinding, putting together good at bats. Putting
right.
Hey, as some of these people say, putting good film on tape. So.
Gotta get it on tape. Chad, gotta get it on tape.
Chad fast. Chad run fast.
Think fast, run fast. Think fast, run fast. Think fast, run fast. Chad's got a cannon. Chad's got an arm. Gotta put it on tape.
That is hilarious.
Pitcher of the week. I'm gonna go with Christian Javier from the Astros. 2 starts this week, 1-0. 11 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 4 walks, and 14 punch-outs.
I can dig it. If this week included Bryce Elder, I think I might have to include him in that now.
Yeah, that would be.
That was pretty legit. I got no qualms with that though. All right, so that takes us on over into stack bets. Drew and I also talking before the podcast. We're kind of in that do or die mode in the season, so I'm feeling some do or die on the stack bets. I've got to make up some ground from Drew and figure something out here. Unfortunately, Drew and I were both kind of thinking along the same line, so a win for me is going to be a win for him. But I'll go first. So I'm putting up 200 stacks that the Braves will be in first place by the end of next Sunday's game. That's a heart bet. I would love to see it. And then I'm also going to put up 50 stacks, not including tonight, which I don't think he hit a home run anyway, so it doesn't matter. But not including tonight, I'm putting up 50 stacks that Dansby is going to hit 2 home runs this week. Dude's just clutch. He's one of those guys that just knows how to win. He's got the clutch gene. It would not surprise me if he hit 2 home runs in the Mets series, just because I think he's gonna really peak in that series and be clutch for us. But 2 home runs this week. So that's my 250 stack bets. Trying to get up into that 500 club, man.
A little luck involved on those. No, I got I got 50 that Braves are going to win both. 50 that the Braves are going to win the Mets series, and I got 100 that the Braves are going to be in first place by Sunday night, after Sunday Night Baseball.
I love it.
We shall see.
It is an exciting week of baseball. We've talked about it. It's going to be super fun. All right, my friend. Hey, it's not too bad. A little longer than what I think we were looking for, but hey, we got on some tangents. Pujols, the home runs, the whole 9 yards. So, hey, we've done worse. So,
Truth.
Anything you got going on? Anything you want to shout out? Any fun things?
Man, we got football's rolling right now. 5-0. We're number 1 team in the state. Not just our classification, the entire state of North Carolina. We're the number 1 team in the state. Averaging just under about 565 yards of total offense, while giving up just slightly over 170 yards of total offense or total yards. Averaging just under 50 and giving up just about 18 points a night. So the guys are playing well. Probably look out on Sunday. There's a possibility one of our wide receivers could be on You Got Mossed on that section of NFL Sunday Countdown.
Okay.
Had a little chat with ESPN this week to make that happen. So we'll see, man. But no, everything's good. Fall teams, we're doing well right now, man. We're hitting about 350 for the fall with wood bats. We've swiped 44 bases in 8-9 games. So nice. We're doing what we should be doing. And like we talked about defensive wise, my guys are playing really. I say this now, we're probably gonna make freaking 3 errors tomorrow night, but I'll knock on my wood right here. We're fielding at a 98%. We're fielding at a 98% clip right now. So
love it.
Just love it. Things go in the right direction, man. I got a 3-month-old in there that's fun and active, and dude's facial expressions are awesome. So it's been quite a whirlwind for the first, I guess you say, month of school now. We're a month in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's kind of my sentiments. I just don't know where time has gone.
No.
The fact that summer is gone is baffling. The fact that September is basically over, double, is baffling. Work travel picking up here a little bit coming up, so that's going to be fun. We've got a lot of fall plans that we're excited about. We've got playoff baseball coming up. App desperately needs to figure some stuff out.
I feel bad.
Very disappointing weekend. So
we stayed for the first half and then had to come home to take care of the baby. And they scored 28 points while we were there, and then we left and they didn't score again. So I kind of feel bad. Sorry.
Come on, Drew. What are we doing? So
can't leave grandma. Can't leave grandma with the baby for 10 hours.
Yeah, sure you can. She's got plenty of practice. No, but so just grinding through. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to playoff baseball. I'm looking forward to the podcast during the playoffs. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. We've chatted here and there about doing some live streams of some Braves games. I think that would be fun. Get some live reactions, talk a little bit of strategy and kind of what's going on in the game. So we'll see if we can put some of that stuff together. Obviously, schedules depending and whatnot, but again, it's a fun time of the year. So definitely looking forward to it. Sounds like I need to make a little trip down the mountain at some point for some Friday Night Lights and kind of see what's going on. But
we're we're slated to. If we keep doing what we're doing, I think we're gonna have a test Friday night. That might be our last test until we get really into the playoffs. But we'll see, though. Hey, big shout out to High Point Rockers. Go win the Atlantic League.
Let's get it.
Go get it, Ryan. And we'll be watching, man.
Bring that ring home, baby.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. Well, we really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. As always, Drew and I have had a lot of fun chatting with you, spending some time with you. As always, anything you would like to send into the show, questions, comments, segment ideas, anything you want to offer, the email here on the screen, first23rd pod@gmail.com. That's the word first, the number 2, the word third, and pod@gmail.com. Also, down in the description below, we've got our Twitter and Instagram. Feel free to give us a like and a follow over there. We try to engage and post content pretty much daily out there if we can. And try to engage with the community the best we can. And if you're watching here on YouTube, we really appreciate if you give this video a like and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel and helps more people try to join in the conversation. So I'm Scott. That's Drew. Oh, I got that right on the first try. Nailed it. Hope you all have a good week, and we look forward to coming back to you next week, hopefully with the Braves in first place. Peace.